We're live, my friends. The 16th day of June, 2010, on this Wednesday edition. I'm Alex Jones, your radio talk show host. Thank you for joining us today, no matter how you're listening to us, whether it be on a wonderful, courageous AM or FM local station in your area, global shortwave on WWCR, the internet at Infowars.com or PrisonPlanet.com, of course, XM, or on a podcast later, or on a YouTube video clip, or over at PrisonPlanet.tv. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to try to take my time today and pace myself in another attempt to cover all the news and information. But I have mainstream media articles today and mainstream news clips where multiple channels are calling for Obama to, quote, act like a dictator and to, quote, be a dictator. This isn't Woody Allen saying it a month ago or other Hollywood people. No, this is MSNBC, CNN, and others. And Obama's tone in his 18-minute speech from the Oval Office last night said that inaction is not acceptable when BP is his darling, one of his biggest campaign contributors behind his alma mater, Harvard, and, of course, Goldman Sachs. And all of the evidence points towards this increasing every day being a false flag event. And so I'm going to run down the latest developments dealing with the oil spill. Are we into day 60-something now? What day is it? I mean, I can't even keep track of this anymore. So we're going to be going over that today. But bottom line, it itself is a distraction. Kind of like Chandra Levy was in the months before 9/11. You mark my words. You can already see it. The global controllers are openly saying they're building up with aircraft carriers, weapon systems, bunker buster missiles, and Diego Garcia to attack Iran. There is a global realignment in the financial order. Trillions a week disappearing into private central bank black holes. Mainstream news is announcing as if it's no big deal, just a footnote, a side note, like a local newspaper reporting the high school football scores from the night before. It's like a Saturday morning paper reporting the football scores in your town the night before. That, oh, yes, Obama can shut down the internet with the Cybersecurity Act. And hackers are about to have a big cyber attack, and we've got to start shutting down the web. And we've got, of course, the mainstream media, the controlled corporate press, running around in all directions saying that those that criticize Obama want violence, that those who criticize big government are racist, and that we're about to attack any minute, and that the government needs to be sicked on the American people, namely Alex Jones. So evil. And we do have last night's MSNBC and the night before MSNBC attacking myself, Rand Paul, and many others. And really, Pat Buchanan sitting there and taking quite a bit of abuse from Chris Matthews. But I guess that's what he's paid to do. And Chris Matthews saying, look, these people are getting ready for violence. So it's clear the system's going to provocateur and stage violent attacks and further sick the Homeland Security apparatus on the American people, the enemy of the parasitic government. We'll be right back. There are just countless gems that illustrate just how fraudulent this global corporate illegitimate government is. But one of the biggest is this American who reportedly has gone to Afghanistan and Pakistan and gone into the tribal areas sporting a big Taliban beard, looking for Osama bin Laden and handing out Christian literature. I'll guarantee you, if you meet that guy, because I've read the scoop on him, he's a nice guy. He'd change your tire. He'd be the type of neighbor you'd want to live next door to, who would help you. But he's also the kind of person that buys into government mind control, propaganda. I mean, he is angry as an American, and he believes Osama bin Laden really attacked the United States on 9/11. And so, in the last 8 years, he has gone to Afghanistan and Pakistan at least 6 times, and he was finally arrested for it, for running around with a handgun and, quote, Christian literature. Yeah, they'll arrest you for that in Saudi Arabia and Pakistan. That's why they're our allies. Iraq left Christians alone. That's why they had to be dealt with. Seriously. They have a Pentagon policy since the 50s of not wanting secular mainline governments in the Middle East because they might actually have movie theaters and rock and roll stations and people that actually have colleges and want to be first world and have their own banking system. You want to keep women basically in chains and wear big, headdresses over their faces? The CIA's got billions for you. But this well-meaning American, he doesn't understand that. But that is the normal response. I mean, if you really think Al-Qaeda, Al-Qaeda, carried out the 9/11 attacks, shouldn't you be over in Pakistan and Afghanistan? I mean, I'll tell you something right now. If I would have had family lost in the towers, I didn't, but if I would have, it would have been personal. I would have at least gone over there as a journalist to illustrate that, well, if our government says bin Laden's alive, why aren't they going into these tribal areas on the Afghan-Pakistan frontier? Why aren't they doing that? I mean, I would be over there. And if I thought I knew where he was, I would try to kill him. So the media is making fun of this guy. No, I mean, he believes the propaganda, so what do you expect out of someone who buys propaganda? I mean, he hates Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda attacked us on 9/11. He didn't lose any family, but he took it personally. And so he's been over there at least 6 times trying to kill Osama bin Laden. Now, he should know that Osama bin Laden's code name in the CIA, this is declassified, is Tim Osman. He should know that the BBC and AP, as well as Newsweek, reported on the, quote, airlift of evil. You just search that term. And 6,000 to 8,000 Taliban and Al-Qaeda cream is the quote from the Times of London. Cream, the leadership, was flown out to safety in Pakistan by the CIA. And when the military colonels were actually in the San Francisco Chronicle and other papers complaining, when they would capture the head of the Taliban, their general, when they would capture Osama bin Laden's number 2 and number 3, number 4, they would be ordered to release them. And it was also reported they were given large chest of solid gold, bars of gold, huge chest, ammunition cases of bars of gold. Well done, men. It was a staged war. And I had the former CIA section chief on. How do you get them on? You sneak up on them. They got a publisher. He had a new book out, Jawbreaker, 4 years ago, where it admitted some of the truth. We already knew this, and so I just called the publisher up, had a producer call him up and say, we're a syndicated show, I'd like to have him on. Boom, in the queue. That's how I got Rothschild on that time. He had a children's book, Brainwashing Kids, teaching them the earth was going to die. They didn't pay Al Gore and him some money in their carbon trading company. Literally, the Rothschilds own the big one in Europe, along with Al Gore being a shareholder. That and the Chicago mercantile with Osama Obama. He's another CIA guy. He has a lot in common with bin Laden. And all the Taliban and Al-Qaeda did was grab tens of thousands, average age 14, young goat herders, literally off the mountain and hilltops, and stuck them in the 2 or 3 major cities of Afghanistan. And the media reported, yes, they put one ring out about a mile in front of each town, and then another ring about a half mile out in front of the town. And then the Taliban and al-Qaeda leaders, they sit in the cities. And the people out in the first ring are complete conscripts. They've been pressed into service. They've been kidnapped, forced by the Taliban / al-Qaeda / CIA press gangs. And they've been put into service. And it was actually on the news. The Northern Alliance was complaining because, being the opium-running dukes of the North, they weren't given all the compartmentalized info. They were complaining, why can't we shell the second-level emplacements and the government building emplacements where the actual Taliban al-Qaeda leadership are?